An important concept to become familiar with early in the semester is that of normal flora or normal microbiota. This is the terms that we use to refer to those microorganisms that have colonized not only the surface of our bodies, like the skin, but also any cavity or tract that is open to the outside. For example, the oral cavity, the throat, the genitourinary tract, the ear canal, etc. These microorganisms are found in greater numbers than the total numbers of cells in our bodies, and they have some very beneficial roles to play. For example, that of what we call competitive exclusion. They compete for space and food against potential pathogens that may try to colonize our bodies. They also keep our immune system in check and responding. It helps in digestion and many other functions that we're beginning to understand. Normal microorganisms are considered opportunistic pathogens. What that means is that the same microorganism that aids in digestion and helps us healthy, when it's found in the gut, it's beneficial. But if that organism finds its way into another part of the body where it shouldn't be, for example, the urinary tract, it may cause infections. So in a different location, it could be actually a source of disease. So that brings us to the concept of opportunistic pathogens versus pathogenic organisms. Opportunistic pathogens are common in the environment, and they cause disease typically in weak hosts, or like I mentioned before, if they happen to move to a location where they shouldn't be, a location that should normally be sterile. In contrast, true pathogens are organisms that are rare and can cause disease in any host. So notice that there are two characteristics of opportunistic pathogens versus pathogenic organisms. Opportunistic pathogens are common. Pathogenic organisms are rare. If I were to sample any environment, chances are I will find, as part of the bacteria gathered from the environment, E. coli, an organism that is a normal flora of the gut. And it is so common that pretty much any environment that we sample, we would find E. coli. So it is a common organism in the environment because we have it in our bodies and it sheds from our bodies. And it would not cause disease unless it is introduced into a weak host and in a location where it shouldn't be. So that's a good example of an opportunistic pathogen. On the other hand, if I were to sample a classroom, for example, I would not, most likely, find a true pathogen like, for example, Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So true pathogenic organisms are rare, and they, at least in theory, can cause disease in any host, versus opportunistic pathogens that are common in the environment and can typically cause disease in the wrong place at the wrong time in weak hosts. Keep in mind that weak hosts are those individuals who are very old or very young, or they are immunocompromised due to cancer treatment, transplants, or some type of immune disease like AIDS. An example, also keep in mind that all normal flora are considered opportunistic pathogens. So example of an opportunistic pathogen E. coli, for example, the Staphylococcus epidermidis, which lives in our skin. Examples of a true pathogen, Neisseria gonorrhea, which causes gonorrhea, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, which causes tuberculosis, are rare organisms that can, at least in theory, cause disease in any host.